Imagine that from the moment you were born, you were told you're only going to live about 18 years. And then, after you reached the end of your rope and you'd gone about as far as you thought you could, suddenly those limits were taken away from you. Well, that's my story, and I think it's about time I shared it with you guys. I was born with a rare genetic condition called cystic fibrosis. Essentially, it's the inability to pass chlorine in and out of certain cells, and that issue causes a chain reaction throughout your entire body. And for me, it manifests especially in excess mucus in my lungs, which causes scarring and infections. I spent most of my life in and out of the hospital with chronic lung infections. Daily, I would do 2 to 3 chest therapies along with nebulized medications just to keep the infections at bay. As I got older, medicine got a little bit better and a little bit better, to the point where my life expectancy was about 36 for people with my mutation. But it became very clear to me early on that I wasn't going to be one of the people that made it to 36. When my wife JC and I got married about 8 years ago, my body went into a downward spiral. We measure lung function in terms of something called FEV1, and a normal person's about 100%. My lungs at my worst were in my 20s, and that's about when they start talking to you about a lung transplant. For me, a lung transplant would have maybe extended my life on average about 2 years, but it's the nuclear option, and no one with cystic fibrosis ever really wants to go down that road unless they have to. One day, my doctor mentioned a new medication that was being developed that might do some good for my body. It was called Trikafta. So I went in, I got prescribed the medication, and from the minute that I started taking the medication, I felt my entire body change. I went from being on my deathbed to feeling the best that I'd ever felt. I still have a lot of the scarring and issues from having cystic fibrosis for 30 years, but I'm no longer trending downwards. So now that my life expectancy is up in the air, what have I been doing with all of that time? Well, let me show you. First, I took an incredible adventure with my 3 brothers to Ireland. It was the craziest 4 days of my life. And then JC and I went on a couple of trips of our own. We went back to Ireland so I could show her some of the cool places that I'd been to. And then we went to Scotland and Iceland, and I've gotten the opportunity to visit Japan multiple times since then, and each time have filmed as much as I possibly could. If cystic fibrosis has left me with anything, it's a deep and abiding appreciation for the gift of life and for all of humanity and the beautiful earth that we live on. And my biggest dream is to be able to share that and imbue the lives of other people with that message. So you, dear viewer, if you are ever dismayed about the state of the world or the way that your life's been going, I hope that my channel can bring you a little bit of excitement and peace. Give us a follow. I'll see you along the road.